Alright, in this video we're going to talk about value proposition, which is lesson 4 from the Steve Blank Udacity video. So he uses this idea of a pass-fail signal. If you think about a radio, as I show here on the slides, a radio kind of catches a signal that gives information of some sort. And so that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get a clear signal, something that we can know if we're on the right track. You do that through testing the problem and then also testing the solution. So what kind of experiments do you need to make? Well, this video here called Make a Bet with Yourself. He talks about pass-fail experiences.
One of the things we talk about before you get out of the building is called designing pass-fail experiments. And this might seem really complicated, like it requires math or formulas or whatever, but a pass-fail experiment is almost as simply as setting up a bet with yourself. And the bet with yourself could be, well, I think I'm going to be talking to these customers and here's the reaction I think they're going to have. Or it could be, I think it's going to be men 35 to 43 who will love this product. And later when you find out it's teens, 18 to 22 who live in urban areas, you're going to kind of go, lost that bet, but learned a lot. Or later on, as you're actually testing customer acquisition, you might be making more sophisticated bets. Gee, I think for every $10 in keywords, I'm going to get 43 people to hit the site, and then 10% of them will actually activate. Really interesting to see what the data looks over time. So instead of just getting random numbers back, you've set a set of expectations based on some hypotheses or maybe some earlier data, and you now get to compare your hypotheses with the experiments and the data. And what you're looking for is insight. Why were we right? Why were we wrong? What's the next step to take?
That video provides some of the most important ideas for the whole course. This idea of testing all along the way and not wanting to prove yourself right, but to just try to find the best way to do things and find the reality. And so there's two methods that can be done. You can combine an MVP with interviews, which is something that we've done in this course in the past. And then we can also do actual sales. And so we're going to talk about MVPs, but I've kind of forced you in this class with the project to do something that's simpler, that you can actually build your actual product, so you don't have to spend as much time building an MVP for a more complicated real idea. So minimum viable product, here's Steve Blank illustration. It's minimum in that it's least amount of building that you can do to actually build something that you can build and you can test and learn from. So it's not just that you're trying to build crappy stuff, and it's different than building out a final high quality product that would cost a lot of money. So this is very important as you're trying to learn in the initial stages. So what does this look like? For many of the ideas that we discuss in our class, this could be just a low-fidelity website. Sometimes they're called landing pages. And it's just simply you describe the problem that you think people have, and then you encourage others to sign up to learn more, and then you show screenshots of your solution, saying this is how you could solve the problem. And you could do that you could create a landing page. There's software specifically for that, landing page websites. You could do it in WordPress, you could do it in PowerPoint, there's Google Sites. You could even create a Facebook page where you're trying to collect interest. And then you could insert a survey form using Google Forms to find more information. You can make explainer videos. I'll not watch it in the video here, but I encourage you to Google the What is Dropbox Explained original Dropbox video. Watch this video outside of this video to see what was Dropbox's original MVP. So this is basically their MVP explaining what Dropbox was a long time ago before people were actually using it. So these explainer videos are really useful. I'll click on another one. I don't put them in the videos here because we're not supposed to have other people's videos embedded in my videos, but You can just search the 10 best startup explainer videos ever video brewery, and you can see Groupon. So if you've used Groupon, what did they think the Groupon business model would be before they actually built out everything? This is what it was. I'll encourage you to watch those and learn how easy it is to explain an idea with just an explainer video. And then, of course, you can combine a lot of these, a web page, Facebook pages, explainer videos. But basically, you can explain the idea, explain your solution, and then try to see if people will sign up to learn more, will get on a list of interest. Now, if you're making a product, that might be a little bit more difficult to actually build. You should be able to at least draw it out or do an illustration or video showing the old way things were and then the new way. But you could also build it out in styrofoam, wood, plastic. You could do drawings in SketchUp. SketchUp is a free 3D drawing program. It's really useful. And this brings the product to life, so then you can kind of see, is there some interest from the people that you think would be your customers. So who do you actually try to test this on? Well, you're not going to do this randomly. You're going to go out to a relatively small number of people. And so who do you want to talk to? So Steve Blank uses this concept of early evangelists. So an evangelist is someone who basically is going out to preach an idea. Well, people that are early evangelists of technology or technological solutions are the people that are really eager. They know they have the problem. They understand it, and they're actively searching for a solution. And maybe they've even developed something already. So just think of the people that are most likely the ones that are so excited to have a solution to the problem that you've identified. These are your early evangelists. And so you're going to try to get in front of those people. And then as you do that, you're going to do interviews, as we talked about already in class. If you're using an MVP, your interview is going to be a little bit different than the format that we've talked about, where you're just trying to talk about the problem. In an MVP interview, you would bring your solution to them and then have them look at it and use it and try to give you some feedback. But similarly, you're going to try to talk to the right people, get some pass-fail criteria, just as we did with the regular interviews, ask open-ended questions, and then just see how they interact with the MVP. As we said before, just a few notes, the BMC has a few weaknesses. It doesn't show competitors, the environment. It's easy to gloss over key resources that are really hard to acquire, like connections within an industry. You can't just build those overnight. An alternative way of learning about the problems that are out there is to look at competitors and see what they're doing right, where they're competing well and where they're failing, and then look at online reviews or reviews by users to see, what's the real problem. So that'll give you some insight of where are the real pain points still. And so the example that I gave from class was this app, Accompany Me, which would help you prepare for auditions. And they were looking at reviews and they found this app called Bravo Gustavo. And it's actually a very similar app to what they were creating. And they could look at the reviews, and they were able to determine, okay, wow, there really is a need there, but it looks like whoever made this app just kind of stopped using it. So looking at competitors and reviews is another good way of learning.